The conference room felt like a freezer, the kind of cold that seeped into skin and bone, not harsh, just numb. Adrian Cole hated this room. It was where deals died and empires were resurrected. Where numbers decided fates. Where emotions had no place, and neither did the truth. But today, the truth sat 6 feet away from him, hands clasped together so tightly the knuckles had turned white. Mara. Her presence was a quiet storm, calm on the surface, chaos underneath. Her dark hair fell in soft waves over her shoulders, slightly disheveled, like she had run her fingers through it a dozen times before entering the room. She wore a simple dress. Not flashy, not dramatic, but it clung to her with the kind of grace that made him remember how many nights he had held her against him, how many mornings he had watched her slip out of his arms. Now she wouldn't look at him. Adrian tightened his grip on the pen. It was his favorite fountain pen, the one he used to sign multi-million-dollar acquisitions. He had never imagined he would use it to sign his marriage away. His lawyer cleared his throat. "Whenever you're ready, Mr. Cole." Adrian's jaw flexed. Ready. What a ridiculous word, as if anyone was ever ready to destroy something they once believed unbreakable. His eyes drifted to Mara again. She sat so still she could have been carved from porcelain, beautiful, fragile, and heartbreakingly distant. Her lawyer whispered something to her, but she didn't respond. She merely nodded, eyes fixed on the divorce papers laid neatly on the polished oak table. He hated that table too. With a slow exhale, Adrian leaned forward. The pen touched the paper, the soft scratch of ink slicing through the silence. It felt like ripping a muscle from bone, painful, unnatural. He signed the first page. Then the second. Then the third. Each signature felt heavier than the last. After this, it's over, he told himself. This is what she wants. But a small, vicious part of him whispered back, is it? Or is this what you forced her into? When the final line was signed, he closed the folder and pushed it across the table. He didn't look at Mara. Couldn't. If he saw even a flicker of regret in her eyes, he might tear the papers apart and beg her to come home. It's done, he said, his voice flat, detached, an imitation of the man he used to be. Her lawyer reached for the folder, but Mara finally moved. Her hand shot out, stopping the papers. She lifted her head. For the first time in weeks, Adrian met her eyes. They weren't angry. They weren't cold. They were sad. And somehow, that hurt worse. Before you send those, Mara said softly, there's something you should know. Adrian stilled. Her voice was steady, but not calm. It carried the weight of something she'd been holding for far too long, something that had carved its way through her heart until she could no longer hide it. What is it? He asked, though his voice was barely a murmur. Mara rose from her seat. Her movements were slow, deliberate, almost as if she were afraid the ground might crumble under her. She smoothed the wrinkles in her dress with trembling fingers, the small gesture more revealing than tears would have been. The sunlight through the glass walls framed her like a painting, delicate and untouchable. Her lawyer looked uneasy. Mara, you don't have to. I do, she whispered. Adrian's breath caught. Something inside him shifted from irritation to dread. He had expected anger, accusation, maybe even resentment, but not this eerie calm, not this fragile resolve. She walked toward the window, her back to him, staring out at the city he commanded every day yet somehow couldn't navigate when it came to her. You left me no choice, she said quietly. Left her no choice. To what? To leave, to divorce him, or something worse. He stood slowly, unable to sit still. Mara, what are you trying to say? She didn't turn around immediately. When she did, her eyes glistened, not with dramatic tears, but with the exhaustion of someone who had been carrying a truth alone in the dark. I didn't want to tell you like this, she said. But you were never home. You didn't want to talk. You didn't want to see me. And I kept thinking, maybe it's better if I say nothing. Mara. His voice cracked, surprising them both. She took a breath that trembled like a branch in the wind. I thought signing the papers would make things easier. For you, for me. She looked down at her hands. But then I learned something that made everything complicated. Adrian's heartbeat thudded painfully. Adrian, she whispered, there's something you need to know before any of this becomes real. The air thickened as her words sank in. Adrian's chest tightened. Her hands trembled as she reached for the back of a chair, steadying herself. She looked at him with an expression he couldn't decipher: fear, love, guilt, hope, all tangled together. "Adrian, I'm pregnant." The words slammed into him like a physical force. Pregnant. For a heartbeat, Adrian couldn't think, couldn't speak. The room distorted around him, sound muffled, vision narrowing until all he could see was her. Her, and the small, new life she carried. His life. Their life. When the words slipped out, barely audible. "I found out 2 weeks ago," Mara whispered, wrapping her arms around herself. "I wanted to tell you. I tried, but you weren't there. And even when you were, you felt so far away." He stepped closer instinctively. "Mara, please," she said softly, lifting a hand as if warding off disappointment before it came. "Don't say anything unless you mean it." The ache in her voice gutted him. She took a shaky breath and looked away. "I didn't tell you because I didn't think you wanted me anymore." The truth hit harder than any accusation. He hadn't been ready to leave. He had been scared. Scared of failing her, of not being enough, of repeating the mistakes his own father made. But divorce had seemed easier than confronting the wreckage between them. He closed the distance slowly. "Mara." She flinched at his touch, but did not pull away. Her body was tense, fragile, like she was bracing for heartbreak. I never stopped wanting you," he said, voice trembling. A broken laugh left her. "You have a strange way of showing it." "I know," he admitted. "And I'm sorry. So goddamn sorry." Her eyes searched his, uncertain, hopeful, scared. "For months," he confessed, "I've felt the distance too. I just didn't know how to fix it. Every time I tried, I felt like I was failing you. So I threw myself into work. It was the only thing I knew how to control." Her breath hitched. But this, his hand hovered near her stomach, hesitant, reverent, as if afraid to touch the fragile life she carried. "This changes everything. Not because you're pregnant, but because I can't keep pretending I don't care." Finally, she let out a sobbed exhale, relief, fear, and longing tangled into one. I was so scared," she admitted. "Scared you wouldn't want this. Scared you wouldn't want me." "I know," he said, cupping her face. "But I don't want anything else. Not if it doesn't include you. And not if it doesn't include this baby." Her tears fell freely now. He didn't hold them back. He couldn't. They were not of pain. They were of hope, and release, and the promise of a second chance. The divorce papers remained on the table, untouched, a silent reminder of what nearly ended, but also a testament to what could be saved when honesty, courage, and love finally found their way back. "Let's start with one thing at a time," she whispered. "And maybe we don't send those papers just yet." "No," he said softly, but with conviction, sliding the folder away. "We don't." "Yes," she whispered, leaning into him, finally allowing herself to hope. "Yes," he repeated. "Together. Step by step. Day by day. And if we stumble together." And for the first time in months, Adrian Cole felt a fragile, thrilling, exhilarating hope. They might just get it right this time.